So what we have next is the key roles in filmmaking. So we're told that this industry has a complex network of professional guilds. These are something like trade unions, okay? And it seems that in B-land, as is the case in the industry, the real life industry, you have producers guilds, actors guilds, screenwriters guilds, etc. And these are set up to lobby for and protect the interests of its members. So Menteen has to consider these guilds. They're an important gatekeeper of sorts for that stands between them and the talent that they recruit. So this complicates an already difficult hiring process. We're talking about people with perhaps artistic temperaments and they're unionized as well. So it gives them more bargaining power for sure. And it makes things trickier for Menteen. So the guilds, we need to consider them as a key stakeholder. Okay, this is a body with or bodies with high interest and high power. If you're thinking about Mendelow's matrix, it's something to consider. The guilds then have very specific rules concerning accreditation of producers, directors, screenwriters, etc. That participate in the making of a film. So at the end of a film, when the roll of credits comes up, there are stipulations from the guilds concerning who appears there, who does not, and what you need to do to appear there. So the members of the guilds, we can assume that they have more bargaining power, which is likely to lead to better pay and conditions for actors, directors, producers, screenwriters, etc. But perhaps some will be priced out of the market by, let's say, this artificially high salaries being negotiated by the guilds. For the studios, on the other hand, what they have to consider is they may have increased salary expenses, particularly for the famous actors and famous directors, etc., who already come with quite unique talents and high bargaining power. So they have onerous regulations to comply with as well, I guess, and they need to manage this key relationship with the various guilds. The guild membership then would increase the likelihood of things like strike action in the case that film studios were opposing the different rules, or rather they were breaking some of the rules that the guilds have set. There's the threat of strike action. There could be a threat of legal action as well, perhaps from the guilds in behalf of their members. All things to consider. So what Menteen needs is quite a strong legal team to protect its interests against what are powerful unions. Next, we're told that it's becoming common for those holding key production roles to be paid a share of the profits as part of their fee. So this is a way then for the studio to reduce some risk relating to this particular salary expenses. If a movie is a flop, then they're going to be paying out less. And if the movie is a bigger success than was anticipated, then both sides win out. The producers, the directors, etc., who are sharing in the profits, they win out too. So under scenarios where the studio is uncertain that the film will be a commercial success, payment of a profit share, it restricts the downside in that event when the film's revenues are disappointing. It's unclear how likely the artistic talent is to want this kind of payment. As I say, there's potential for downside and upside with this. And then we come to the specific roles of the people involved in the filmmaking process. We start with the producer, who we spoke about before. This role has a wide range of responsibilities. We can think of this person as something like a project manager, very heavily involved in the pre-production process and in bringing the initial ideas to the studios. So they're involved throughout the whole process from development to the final distribution. So that we have a very wide range of business and artistic responsibilities. It would have to be a unique individual who could, let's say, demonstrate high skill in both areas, in business and in art. We talked about the uneasy relationship between those two before. We're talking about, if you're thinking of some famous examples here, you would think of people like George Lucas, who was the Star Wars producer, Steven Spielberg, Peter Jackson, who did Lord of the Rings, and James Cameron, who did Titanic, and some other blockbusters as well. So these are people as well who tend to be involved in direction, but they are producers too. And once the film goes into production, what the producer does is they delegate to other professionals. They delegate the direction of the movie, etc. So we're told then that the producer could be an employee of the studio, or they could be an independent producer. These people can demand substantial fees. This is actually common to a number of the roles we're going to look at in this section, particularly if they have a track record of delivering very profitable films. Okay, so a project manager taking on maybe too many tasks. They need to be particularly skilled in two quite distinct areas, business and art, and very involved in the whole process. Directors then come in next. And again, some of the names we looked at above, Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, etc., they are involved in the direction of movies as well as being producers. Some other famous directors will be people like Martin Scorsese, who made Goodfellas, Alfred Hitchcock, Quentin Tarantino, Woody Allen. These are well-known names. Again, these are people with considerable bargaining power. They can command very high salaries due to their track record of directing popular and critically acclaimed films. These are the people who actually direct the film. They actually make the film. They visualize the story. They have this script in front of them and they visualize it. They put it into action. And they're famous celebrities in their own right. They can command very large fees. A key consideration at this point is how does Menteen counteract the high bargaining power of famous actors, famous directors, famous producers. We looked at the possibility of, a profit share arrangement with let's say a high percentage of the salary assigned to a potential profit share. In the case that the film actually flops, then the downside for the film studio is reduced. But it's uncertain how attractive that is to well-known directors, well-known producers, etc. But it's an option for the studios to consider. Next we come to the screenwriter. So they take an original idea perhaps, or an existing story, and they turn it into a script. And this is what the director is using to visualize the story. So we're told it's an art unto itself. Even in the instance where an existing story is being adapted, there is quite a degree of skill that is necessary to convert the text into a workable script. And in fact, the original author may be consulted on the original script. So again, we have a kind of subjective area, and it's difficult to predict and it's difficult to value. I would say for screenwriters, just like with actors, you have a very large supply of people looking to make a breakthrough in the industry. This is kind of a glamorous job, and most actors, most screenwriters are struggling to get by. It's just the elite few who have massive bargaining power. Perhaps without the market distortion, which I referred to here, of the guilds, these unions, let's say maybe artificially inflating the salaries that studios have to pay to screenwriters, to actors, etc. Without that distortion, maybe the studios would be paying less. Maybe in fact screenwriters, the lower order screenwriters and lower order actors would find it easier to get work. It's difficult to say.